Al Horford is basically gone. New reports say that he is ready to sign with the Golden State Warriors. And I say that tells you everything you need to know about this upcoming season. That's right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis. We kept the madness every game, every practice. Primetime Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day, and I talk about the Celtics, your team, every day, Monday through Friday. This week, now I've been, I think, mistaken. This week is the last Monday through Friday week. Starting next week, 3 days a week through the rest of August and early September. So next week goes to 3 days a week, but it's still more free podcasting than you're ever going to find anywhere. So make sure you're subscribed on whichever podcasting app you use. Watch a show on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Share your thoughts with your fellow Celtics fans and me. I'm John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've been covering the Celtics for about 20 years now. I've written a couple of books on the team as well. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins at FanDuel.com. Today's show all about Al Horford. We haven't done the full Al Horford podcast, and a new report on Clutch Points says that it's a done deal. He is going to Golden State. It's not retirement. It's not coming back to Boston. He's going to go to Golden State once they figure out the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. So I say, and I wrote this on Boston Sports Journal, we're going to expand on it now. This tells you everything you need to know about this upcoming season. I'm going to talk about it with Tom Westerholm. Tommy Dubs, what's going on?
What up? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I think the starkness of Al Horford leaving again is like, okay, this is for all of the optimism that's been out there for like, well, maybe, if, and that, there is the,
perpetrated by this podcast. It should be noted.
Maybe it's been said on here from time to time. And I'm always like the one that I love to leave things open is like, well, look, maybe Jaylen finds a new level. Maybe Derek, there is the possibility of like certain guys hit. Maybe Luka Garza is better than expected. There's a lot of guys that could be better than expected. Yeah. The classic, if everything goes right, even though everything never goes right, but if it were to, it could still be a really good season. But the reality is, my premise here with Al Horford, he doesn't leave good situations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a knock on Al, but I go back to the first time that he left. Obviously the Sixers threw a bunch of money at him, but he was looking around. Kyrie had been saying what he was saying.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier was kind of blowing up the locker room with his, disdain for Gordon Hayward's minutes, so much so that he, as soon as the season ended, before the sweat dried on his uniform, he was on ESPN being like, blowing things up.
Yeah.
Al looked around and was like, I just can't. And like, luckily for him, the Sixers threw all that money at him. But I distinctly remember him saying, he was asked, hey, if you knew Kemba was coming, would you have stayed? And he was like, maybe. Basically saying like, he was like, yeah, I kind of would have.
Yeah.
So I think that just tells me.
Before we go on, I do want to just really hammer home how disastrous that 2018-19 season was, and how awful that locker room was, how just toxic.
Garbage
everything that was going on. That season sucked.
It was garbage.
Awful season.
We were in that locker room.
Oh yeah.
We were in that locker room, like, looking over, like, I remember the Kyrie comment about like, oh, I contacted LeBron, and we're like, wait, everybody.
We all like, yeah.
You did what? You talked to what?
Marcus Morris. That season was salvaged by Marcus Morris being funny in the locker room sometimes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like Jay King's binky. Like Jay would tell you this. He's like,
absolutely.
Whenever I needed a story, I went to Marcus Morris.
Yes.
And he would deliver.
He delivered every time.
Every single time.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only saving grace. Kyrie, like it really was a bad year. And that's the year that started with Gordon Hayward having the second surgery on his ankle, and that set him back. And he came into camp like with having played no basketball. So immediately the Celtics were set up to kind of fail with him, because their only chance in the playoffs was getting Hayward to where he needed to be. I will die on this hill. Their only chance at a championship that year was using the regular season to get Hayward back up to speed, if at all possible, which meant playing him a lot, which means no Terry Rozier, like all of those younger guys that wanted those minutes, they couldn't get them.
Kind of earned those minutes the year before. They were great.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, totally. And that's why they were set up to fail.
Yes.
That's why, because all of those guys, and look, Jaylen was in there. Tatum was in there.
Jaylen came off the bench a bunch that year. Like weird.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was. Like, yep. That was Jaylen like 4 iterations ago of Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
And so, right, this is setting the stage for Al, like looking around and being like, I'm sure as the OG in the locker room, guys are up there kind of like, confiding in him a little bit. So you got all of these young guys, Rozier looking for his payday because he was coming up on his free agent year. He's looking to get paid. Tatum was a rookie in a playoff hero. Jaylen was looking to make his. Jaylen still has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So those guys were in their kind of like little clique, and Kyrie was always, veterans versus younger guys kind of thing, kind of always publicly being like, I know better.
The young guys. Yeah. All season.
All season long, the young guys. Yeah. And it was like, okay, we get it. Like you can feel the seething in that locker room. Yeah. So yeah, by the time, like when it came time for that summer, Horford was like, okay, you got to get me the hell out of here. Even if he was on the fence, I wrote this on Boston Sports Journal. Even if he was on the fence in that playoff series against Milwaukee, when Kyrie just kept switching onto Giannis and just getting roasted, I mean, basically intentionally throwing the series. If Al was on the fence at all in that series, he must have been like, get me the F out of H, because I cannot stand here and watch Kyrie. Like I can't be around Kyrie for another second.
Me, one of the best Giannis defenders in the NBA, cannot stand here and watch Kyrie try to switch onto Giannis Antetokounmpo. No.
Right, and that was 6 years ago.
Right, he was a monster back then.
And Al is still one of the best Giannis defenders in the NBA, and that was 6 years ago. So so Al doesn't leave good situations.
Right.
He's not like, hey, I'm going to see this through. He's a free agent and he's like, hey, look, listen, in a way, he's the player version of Brad Stevens, the executive, because Brad is, professional, like personality wise, they're exactly the same person.
Very similar men. Yes.
Very similar. And I think business-wise, they're very similar men, because Brad will look at a guy and be like, you just don't fit our plan anymore. We're going to let you go. We appreciate everything you've done. We love you for everything you've done. It's just the fit's not there anymore. So we just wish you the best of luck. And he'll have no problem. It'll be hard, but he'll look Drew Holiday in the eye and be like, sorry, buddy, this is how it is now. And we appreciate everything that you've done for us. And Al Horford is going to do the same thing. Be like, hey, look, these were great years, but this, I can't do it. I got a bunch of money going the other way. So you guys say you can't match it. And frankly, I don't think I want you to anyway. So adios. And then that's that's setting the stage for this now situation. That's Al Horford's first time around. So when we look at this time around, I'm sure he looks around the same thing. And I don't know if it's exactly the community meme where, he walks in with the pizza and everybody's like flames are flying around and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what the first situation
probably. That's what the first situation was. Yeah.
Yes. But it's very much Al, I think, coming to terms with this might be my final year.
Yeah.
And what's this year going to be for the Celtics? So let's dive into that in a second when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers who sign up at FanDuel.com can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So pick your summer sport, baseball, golf, soccer, all kinds of things out there. You want to get in on the action, try it with FanDuel. While your friends are over there getting sunburned on the beach, which I hope to be doing soon, you can be following a golf tournament or baseball inning by inning. And look, you can use FanDuel to track your favorite matchups because the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions. The payouts are very quick, and you can play these same game parlays. So you can watch a bet ride into the 9th inning or onto the 18th green and feel like you're part of the action. New customers bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bet if your first bet wins. Set your limits. They have tools as soon as you log on. It'll ask you if you want to set your limit. Say yes. Put in what your disposable income is while you have a clear head, and then you can go have fun. And if you get caught up in maybe the pursuit of something after a bad stretch, the limits will help catch you. That's what they're there for. We've all been there. We don't want to go down that road. So go ahead and set your limits, set your budget. Open up the FanDuel app today. Your first $5 bet could get you $150 in bonus bets if you win. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Locked On NBA should be your second and third listen because we got 2 podcasts on Locked On NBA. We got the afternoon Locked On NBA show, the evening Locked On NBA game night. That's going to get all the big stories covered in a very unique way. So go check it out. I'm there on Thursday nights. So it's the Friday podcast with Jake Madison. Not this week, but next week I'll be back. So make sure you are subscribed to that podcast. So let's get back to this Al Horford conversation. This season, Al Horford is looking around, and more than the situation the first time, this time it's more like other guys are going, and it's very much like the ending of Ocean's 11, where they're all around the Bellagio fountain and just like slowly one guy peels off and another guy peels off, and Al's like watching these guys peel off, and it's like we did it, we got our championship, and everybody's like doom, and now Al's like, I guess I'm going to go too, because not only the Celtics would like to have him back, but I think when you look around, if you're Al Horford, you're like, is this going to be how my last year goes? Like, does Al Horford owe the Celtics anything at this point?
I mean, no, right? Like, he doesn't owe the Celtics anything. And I mean, the Celtics don't, this is a partnership that has been great for both sides. They have, worked together so well over the years. And like, Al Horford will be remembered very, very fondly, right? There's no, I think even, I don't think the Warriors are definitely not the same thing as going to the Sixers, right? Or the Lakers or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, there was a championship in 2022 and all that stuff, but it is just not the same thing. And so like him going to a Western Conference team that is like, pretty good, like he can contribute, like there's not like a direct rivalry there. These are all things like he's leaving in a way that certainly still leaves the fans' door to Al Horford wide open, right? And Al Horford, he won a championship here. Like this is that's really big. And I think when you look at the Celtics depth chart, that's where it starts to really like, you're like, yeah, I can see
man,
Al Horford. Like when Niang is like probably a starter if things hold. You know, he doesn't want to be there for that. You can't, and you really can't begrudge him that. It's the end of his career. He wants to have one more chance to compete. That makes sense. He doesn't feel like, clearly he doesn't feel like he's ready to be done with his basketball career. And if you don't feel like you're ready to be done with your basketball career, and you're as accomplished as Al Horford, and you've won a championship with the Celtics, right? Like, you won a title. You're not in a position where you're like, hey, I'm willing to help a team rebuild. Like, Horford wasn't drafted by the Celtics. He spent the first, big portion of his career elsewhere. He spent a couple of years in the middle of his Celtics tenure elsewhere. The Celtics are probably the team that the Celtics are the team that he's going to be most remembered for, in the NBA. If it was like the MLB, right? If it was like the Baseball Hall of Fame, he would be in the Hall of Fame with a Celtics jersey, I think, right?
Right. Yeah,
so,
I think so.
Yeah, but like, that doesn't mean, but this isn't like a Paul Pierce situation where he was with the team his whole career, and even Paul Pierce didn't end his career with the Celtics. So like, I don't think he owes the Celtics anything. I don't think the Celtics owe him anything. I think it can just be like, I think it's more than just a hearty handshake, right? I think it's like, a fond hug and a good luck on the way out the door on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
A good split. This makes sense for everybody involved. So
yeah, and like I think when you're Al Horford, you have the opportunity. If this was like 5 years ago, maybe like let's flip it. If this was the first time, Al, I don't think, first of all, I don't think they would have lowballed him or anything like that. I think, and I also think that Al would have stuck around if this was the first time, because 5 years ago it was or 6 years ago, if the situation was you're waiting a year for Tatum to recover, and you like, look, we're just making a few financial moves, we're moving Holiday, we're moving Porzingis, we want you to stick around and be part of this. It's going to be a down year though, so be prepared for this down year, but we still want you there for
really nurse any little knock that you pick up, any little, you bumped your knee. Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah. 2 weeks. Oh man. Like, oh, you're like, right. Ooh, that's a paper cut. Ooh, that's going to let you out to the All-Star break. Yeah. So I don't think that this is a dire situation, but I do think that Al looks around and it's like, look, there's as positive as we can be. This is where I look at Al Horford and think, this man knows basketball. This man understands the locker room. He understands what's going on. He sees what's coming in. If he wanted to, he could have gone to Brad and been like, well, let me see. Maybe I will stick around. He sees all these guys leave and Luke Cornett leave. There's nothing. If you're going to stick around here, then it's just because you're pulling a Blake Griffin and you're like, I just love the game and I just kind of want to be in the locker room. But Al clearly has something to give.
Yeah.
And he wants, if he's deciding between playing another year and retiring, then he just wants to go someplace that's going to allow him to give what he can give and be a potential contender. So if it's Golden State, then look, they've got Curry, they've got Draymond. If they can figure out the Kuminga thing, they got some players. When they were healthy, they made a run last season, and he can sit there and say, I can play the closest to Draymond as any backup big that they've had.
Yeah.
So the Warriors can now run their same stuff with Al Horford. Like, you don't have to change when Kevon Looney comes in and Draymond sits. You can kind of keep going, which changes. You can sit Draymond while Curry's on the floor, and Curry still can feel confident that he's going to get that pass from the top of the key. So all of that is to say that Al can feel maximized and say, hey, it's not the Nuggets. It's not the Thunder, but we have a chance. And that's all you want. You want to have the chance.
Yeah. I think there's two quick things to add to that too. Like, one, I think that the Warriors are adults, right? Like, Al is going to another place where it's like, yeah, we're the timelines and the person, it just,
Draymond.
The ages match up. The ages certainly match up, right? And then I think the other thing too is to remember, in leaving the Celtics, he's already seen how difficult it is for a player to come back from an injury, right? Like that derailed we just got done talking about how Hayward's injury derailed the entire 2018-19 season. Even if Tatum does come back next year, midway through the season, next year is not going to be peak Tatum. We know that for a fact. And if you're Al, do you want to do that a second time? Like,
no,
probably,
right.
Probably not.
Right. So I guess the final question here is, why not just retire? Why go across the country? Although I just kind of made the case, but like, is it really worth it? Let's explore that when we come back. Reminder to everybody, 3 days a week starting next week. So next week, all of August, beginning of September, 3 days a week. So still doing mailbag Mondays, still doing flashcard Fridays. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And if anything breaks, we can always add a fourth podcast or a fifth podcast. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the plan for the upcoming, the near future. So before the break there, the question was, why not just retire? When, is it, why go to San Francisco when you have a house in Boston, you have a house in Atlanta, your family's all here. You're going to have a sixth kid. You get a kid coming in December, number 6. Why go to San Francisco? I will only say that I think people who haven't been in a locker room, like, that's the mentality of somebody who's just like, who hasn't done it. I feel like I can tell you that nothing makes you feel young quite like being in a locker room. And like, it's the last bastion of boys can be boys. You're behind closed doors and you get to just be a kid. And as a non-kid, I can just tell you that I would love to kind of have that situation. And the one thing I miss when it comes to basketball, I don't miss like the games. I don't miss going out there. I don't think back and be like, oh, this performance was great and that performance was this and all that. I think back to the times I had with my teammates. I think back to bus rides and locker room things that made us laugh, and all the times joking around and being in, just hanging out dorms and coffee shops or restaurants or whatever. Like, that stuff is what I miss. And you're Al Horford. You're 39. You're going to turn 40 this year. Why are you in a hurry to grow up? So I'm never going to push a guy to retire. Never, 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 because retiring means you got to face real life all day, every day. And I think everybody listening can appreciate an escape from real life when you got it a few hours a day.
I think also you look at like how many people, right, when they retire are looking for something to do, right? You like when they first retire, it's just like, well, yeah, what do I do with my day? Like, I think that's a big adjustment for a lot of people. And I think it's strange when you're a professional athlete and you've made all this money, for sure, right? Like, this is not a woe is these guys, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is, like, it is an odd thing that just doesn't feel totally natural, I think, to retire at 40, right? To be just done working when your entire life up until this point has been the obsessive pursuit of this greatness that you have to be pursuing to be an NBA player. You have spent your entire life just grinding and grinding and grinding and working and working and working and perfecting and doing all this stuff. And just all of a sudden that's gone. That's got to be really strange at age 40 to just be like, I mean, it's great, right? Like I can, hang out with I can see my kids grow up. I can provide for future generations of Horfords, of which there will be many because there are now 6 children. I can see 6 children grow up and like, that's awesome. And that's great. But that sense of purpose, that sense of like, I get up every day, I take care of my body. I eat the right things so that I can perform on the court. I do the right workout so I can perform on the court. That singular thing that you are pursuing, if that's gone at such a young age, that's really strange, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think the locker room, certainly, I think that's definitely a big part of it. And I also think that it's just, like being in the NBA is your life's work. And who's ready to just give up their life's work too soon? Like nobody wants to do that. Like you need to be ready to do that.
Right. I'm going to paraphrase the great poet Bruno Mars by saying, not to be dramatic, but retirement is dying. It's and honestly, when you retire as a professional athlete like these guys, you are watching your own like funeral coverage in a way, because when Al retires and when all of these greats retire, the highlight packages come out, the retrospectives come out, all the great words, everything is treated as if like your career dies. It's over. And like, that's mentally, that's gotta be hard to sit there and be like, oh, okay, let me just pop on SportsCenter. Like, oh yeah, is it talking about me like I'm gone? Like I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and do the same things I do every time I wake up. But that feeling of watching your own retirement coverage, guys have said it. I think guys have said it like in Hall of Fame speeches, it's like watching your own death coverage, and it messes with you. And on top of that, the competitive nature doesn't turn off. A lot of these guys they're just looking for their next fix, their next thing to chase, their next thing to conquer. And it's tough at 40, like to say, well, what's the next challenge? What's my next thing? Like so few guys just retire and say, all right, man, well, I'm just going to buy a place in Aruba and chill. Like that's not how it works. So yeah, retirement it's so easy to say, yeah, you should retire. And in a lot of ways, it's easy to make that case, but I can understand a guy being like, nah, I still got something to give.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in defense of those of us who do eulogize these guys, right? It's like for us watching Al Horford, it's like, I mean, how many of us remember him at Florida, right? Like, remember like young Al Horford, playing alongside Noah and winning, championships. And it's like, oh, wow, that Al Horford. And for us, it is sort of this reminder of mortality, right? Of like, we've watched this guy. This guy is now an old man in the NBA. And like, we remember him when he was a young man coming into the NBA. And that is one of the strange things about sports. And now imagine that that's you, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine that you are the person being eulogized. I mean, it's doubly strange, obviously, for them. So yeah, I mean, you can't blame him for wanting to put that off another year. For sure.
And listen, the eulogizing and all of that stuff, it's perfectly fine. It's natural. Like, it's not a criticism of how it, like, when he retires, like, I'm gonna be doing the same thing. And it's like, you remember all the greatness that these guys brought. So yeah, that's, of course, it's a normal thing, but it's just funny. It's funny. And it's funny to remember how young, listen, I have a younger brother who was born in 1985. He turns 40 this year. Al Horford doesn't turn 40 until June. So my little brother, who I look at as a kid, a total, like he has 2 children. I'm constantly amazed. I'm like, how did my little baby brother produce these children? Like, what is going on? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But he is older than Al Horford, who I view mentally as a contemporary. I'm 52. I turned 52 actually in a couple of days. Like, I look at Al Horford. I'm like, yeah, we're just 2 old guys. And he's younger than my baby brother. So the sports kind of warps your perception of who young and old is. It compresses everybody's lifespan into a 20-year career, basically at most, where 19 is a baby and 40 is death.
Yeah.
And it's like everything's just this little compressed thing, and everything has to happen like a decade sooner than it was supposed to in real life. It's just a weird kind of place to be. So yeah, Al is a young guy. The whole reason I said is Al's young. He's not even 40 yet. He's young. I would love to be just turning 40. I'd be like, man, I'm full of life. So,
well, and I think, and the last thing I wanted to say too, I wanted to make this point earlier too, because I think that pursuit, right? When you have pursued greatness and you've gotten to the NBA, and then you're looking for your next purpose, it's like you're 40, you still have so much life ahead of you, but like you accomplished so much, and then to like have to try to do that again in something else, you're probably not going to do it, right? Like you're probably not going to reach that same level in anything else you do. I mean, the TNT guys, right? Like you look at them, they made it to the NBA, and then they had an iconic TV show. So like that's kind of the type of blueprint, right? Or you become like a great coach or whatever it is. Like, but you're pursuing something new and trying to be great in something else, and there's no guarantee, and in fact, it's probably not going to happen a second time. And that, to me, if I was retiring from the NBA, that would be the thing that I would just be like, that would be the hardest part, I think. It's just like, it's not going to happen again. I did it, and I'm not going to do it again. Like, and if you're wired that way, that's got to be so hard to swallow.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're 40. And if you like live to your 80s, you're like, it's a whole other like whole other life. Well, bottom line is Al Horford's gone.
Bottom line is when you leave the Celtics, we eulogize you early.
We eulogize you. That's it. We've killed you. We've buried you, resurrected you, killed you again. All right. Well, good talk, Tom.
Yeah. We got existential about it. It's good stuff.
All right. Well, it's always fun to have these conversations. Al Horford, all but gone from the Celtics, not coming back, and maybe just 1 year left in his career. Hopefully it goes well. So that's it. We're going to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's show, Millie's will be here tomorrow to talk about his Celtics fandom. Basically, the whole thing's about him and the Celtics, and it's still a Locked On Celtics podcast, but it's superstar rapper Cambridge's own Millie's. That's tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed. Thank you to the everydayers who are here with me every Monday through Friday. Next week we go down to 3 days a week, so a little bit cooling off during the slow period of the NBA schedule. But make sure you're still subscribed, because you never know when a new podcast will drop if something big happens. Also, get into the comment section on the YouTube page, and then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.